Hi everyone, this is Neil Oliver with an M14 draft presented to you through magictraders.com. In this pack here, we don't have much of a pick because Doomblade is awesome and the rest of the pack is actually okay. I mean, we got Young Pyromancer, Embrace, Scroll Thief, Mystic, Marauding Maulhorn. So overall, some good cards. To note, we're kind of towards the end of the format here. Theros is coming out in a few weeks online, so that'll be cool. So I'll be hopefully presenting you some of those drafts when we get there. Also, there are some cube drafts coming out online, so I'm going to try to get you a couple of those in the coming weeks to months whenever they get presented to you. So here we have a Doomblade. That's going to be awesome, and we'll go kill some things. In this pack here, I think there's a couple interesting options. Really, the only things I'll consider here are the Sea Kite versus the Water Servant. I think Blue-Black is really strong. Black-Red's actually really strong too, but we're definitely not taking this Fire Cat. There's no way that's even comparable. Water Servant is worst in Blue-Green, where you already have giant fatties. But it's pretty strong in like a blue-black or blue-red deck where your creatures are kind of small. And Sea Kite's always good, but this is not really a very replaceable effect because the guy is so big. He's done a lot of work for me in the format. He's pretty good, so we're going to take that. And yeah, I like starting off this way. If we can make blue-black happen, then it's probably the best archetype overall. Not as fun as some of the gimmick decks like the mono blue deck. I love drafting that deck. Although, you know, we have some hope here. Might end with some Staff the Mind Maxes by the end of this draft. You never really know. But Water Servant just kind of pairs with everything, and we have a gift. I'm not going to complain about this opportunity to pick this guy right up here. Given the chance to take this card, you usually should. Even like in pack 2 or 3, if you have a really weak color, you should pretty much just take the opportunity. It's just absurd in this format. And so hopefully, you know, learning from that experience of just take that best card when it's so much overpowered compared to the rest of the cards, that can be useful down the road in other formats. I can't really think of any examples of like DGR where that was true, but certainly it's true in this set, so here's an opportunity. Okay, so this pack here, we have an Accursed Spirit. We could take fine in the blue-black deck, not great. Scroll Thief, great if you can get it through, but otherwise kind of mediocre. But it actually decent blocker. Mark the Vampire, you know, I like this card a whole lot, but it does have high variance, and if we have solid picks, I'd rather not take it. Drain Condor, basically not a card. It looks really good when the format came out, but just so many X3 flyers, it really doesn't do a whole lot. I am going to take the Scroll Thief. There's a chance we are just blue and not even playing this Doomblade. Unlikely. It looks like black's open, so it looks like we're in the right spot. But blue-black can get some removal, get this guy through, and once the Scroll Thief hit, really, the game's over. So that'll be great if we can do that. So this pack here, both these black cards, Vampire Warlord's pretty good in the right deck. Like, he's pretty good in a black-green deck. He's pretty good in a black-red deck. He's not great in a black-blue deck. He's fine. Here we have, I mean, Child of the Night, not really a card either. I can take a Negate, or I could take maybe one of these defensive white cards, or I could even take a Thunderstrike if I want to try red. I think that's not a good option, though. We passed a Pyromancer. We haven't really seen any red cards, so we're not going to get any pack 3, I don't think. I'm just going to take the Negate. It's fine. I usually like to have one. Sometimes even main deck it if we don't have playables, but it's definitely good on the board. This pack here, interesting. So blue's open, which is always a good place to be. Let's see. So I could take a Scroll Thief. If I take the Scroll Thief, we're basically just going to try to take Frost Breath and things and get our guys through. It's not a bad option. But I think Essence Scatter sets up the Scroll Thief better, or we can get really defensive and go with the Wall of Frost as we beat down with flyers. But I don't... I think if we already have these guys, they're good on the ground. I don't think we need another wall here. Although I made this pick, you know, Wall of Frost over Essence Scatter many times. I think Essence Scatter into Scroll Thief is super powerful. So yeah, I'm just going to take the Scatter. And this pack, that's awesome. Disperse is great. I think this guy's underrated. I usually like to have like one Nightwing Shade because this format's pretty easy to flood out in and not really use your mana, and then this guy becomes like a 7/7 and they're dead. So if we get a late Nightwing Shade next pack, we probably could take that and probably end up playing it, unless we're not really black at all. Also note, hey, Molten Birth is here. It's a pretty good red card. Looks like maybe red was cut, but we'll just keep an eye on things there. Seeing as we're pretty much mono blue here, this card is awesome. So Seco Strike, want to slam that. We tabled the Scroll Thief, so I'm really happy I did not take the Scroll Thief over this Essence Scatter here. So hopefully we'll be able to get him through, draw a lot of cards, and this pack, sometimes you need this guy just to block Intimidators, kind of sideboard material, since our deck's already pretty good. And Coral Merfolk, I can't even talk, for the board here. A Quarter Shield. Sometimes the blue deck can't really beat a Quarter Shield. They just make like their green fatty like a 4/7, and now you can't block it. So I've seen that happen, and it's surprisingly effective because it can just bash, the big creatures can bash through your guys. Not a great card, but might as well take it since there was nothing else there. These guys apparently don't know how to take cards because they're really slow. What else do I have to say about that? Well, let's go ahead and hide our Sliver Construct. We're not going to be playing that. I would hide the Negate, but it seems like we're probably, going to play it at this point, unless we get enough cards to put in the sideboard. So here, we'll just hate draft, take our Brave the Elements, and an Unplayable Staff. Yay! I am really happy that the blue staff ended up being pretty good, because otherwise, you have this cycle of these cards that do nothing, and they're like, it's a new variant on those old like Dragon's Claw cycle, which is just so bad. So it's nice that like at least these did something in this format. Well, one of them did, the blue one. So what do we have here? So Enlarge is the best card in this pack. Very, very good card. We have Disperse, so maybe we can stop it. That'd be nice. And here we're definitely taking a blue card. We could take Sensory Deprivation, although that card definitely gets worse when you have like these Scroll Thieves you're getting through. So like you're already kind of gumming up the ground, and gumming up their ground is not actually that good with these cards. So it has kind of diminishing returns in this type of deck, whereas something like a Doomblade or Quag Sickness actually just kills their guy. I think Fire Shrieker, could be good. It's insane with Water Servant. It's actually pretty good with Scroll Thief as well, or we could just take a Sea Kite. It's kind of nice if you can push this through, 2-power guy with Scroll Thief. And you could live the dream and hit Scroll Thief and draw 2 cards. I mean, I could take Sea Kite. I'm just going to take this Fire Shrieker, see what happens. I haven't played with it in a while. Here, what do we have? Well, these cards are both very mediocre. And this card's very good. And I think White's underdrafted, so even though we have the Doomblade, which, we maybe just splash anyways, we just pick up a Fire Shrieker. Fire Shrieker's kind of insane on this guy. They're probably just dead. So yeah, I'm gonna take this and just see, is White open? Because there's really not a whole lot for us in this pack. We could take Diabolic Tutor. It's very good with Opportunity, because you get Opportunity to draw 4 cards. But I think the upside here is much higher, and you really only want the one Diabolic Tutor. They come around kind of late, so you might get one anyways. So, interesting. So, White is kind of open, and here's a Serra Angel. It's insanely good. There's also Quag Sickness here to go with our Doomblade. Now, what I expect to happen is to get quite a bit of black this pack, because we really didn't see much black pack 1. We took the Doomblade, we're going to splash it, but we really didn't see a single black card. So we'll probably get a lot of black this pack, but we're not going to get a lot of black pack 3. However, on the white end of things, we did see some white cards pack 1, so there's a chance we could see some good white cards in pack 3. We already have a Seraph of the Sword, and I do think Seraph of the Sword and Serra Angel are ridiculously powerful. I'm glad we picked up the Fire Shrieker. Going to be totally awesome with these big flyers. So, I'm going to go with the Serra Angel here. Here we have basically a Cancel or a Charging Griffin. Again, the Griffin's going to be awesome with Fire Shrieker. It's a flyer. We can gum up the ground here. I'm going to take the Griffin. In this pack, this is the perfect card for kind of our defensive deck here as we kill them with flyers. So we're going to take our Wall of Swords. And then, I don't know if I want to cancel another Charging Griffin. Charging Griffin's really good. We have a lot of 4s, but I don't think it matters too much. Already have an Essence Scatter. Yeah, I feel like we can get another cancel. It's more replaceable. In this pack, I guess we just take the Show of Valor. It's going to be fine, not great. It's sort of like a negate when they have removal, red base removal, or like a big dude. I'm going to actually just hide this Doomblade. I don't think we're going to play it. So here, yeah, let's go ahead and just take that. Nothing really going on here. And then in this pack, there's a Mastodon. Seems fine. Actually, this card's kind of unbeatable if you ever play it. It's just so big, and everything has 4 power in the late game, like Rumbling Baloth. So actually, he kind of blocks everything. So he's pretty good for a 5-drop. This pack's bad too, so we're just gonna take him. I might actually play it. In this pack, this card is unlike Siege Mastodon, unplayable because everything has 4 power in the late game. So he looks a lot better than he is, but he's pretty bad. So we're not gonna play that. Whereas like Armored Cankrick is actually a card. I didn't mean to pick it. Okay, so I ended up picking Armored Cankricks. We'll live. I meant to actually take Glimpse of the Future in the last pack because when you have an opportunity and you can dig to it, you might actually play it. I'm probably not actually going to play it because we don't have anything like Archaeomancers to rebuy this. It's best in like a combo deck where you're trying to look for certain pieces. So it's not too bad that we took Armored Cankricks in the last pack. In fact, I'd probably take the other one had I taken the Glimpse of the Future in the previous pack. So not a huge loss there. Take some random cards. I don't really want to lose to Glade Cover Scout. Hexproof's miserable. Spore Mound's very good, but I didn't actually look at this card at first because I'm not usually white. But this card's actually really good against like the red decks and against like giant growths and larges, things like that. So I will take it. So white's so bad in this format. But if everyone is not drafting white, not playing white, then you can go ahead and play it. I'm not going to play Suntail Hawk. I'm just going to take this card here. It is kind of good against us at certain times. Tome Scour, it is. You never know, I could get the Tome Scour deck at this point. And we need about 4 more Tome Scours. Yeah, that's not going to happen. In fact, I was just writing an article about this with these white cards and the fact that everyone thinks they're so bad, and they are so bad, but because everyone thinks they're so bad, you end up getting past things like Seraph the Sword, Sarah Angel, which are not bad cards, and then Charging Griffin, which is one of the best white commons and it's totally fine, and then everything drops off after that. Everything else is pretty bad. Like it's all Griffin Sentinel status, which is kind of funny me saying that because it's probably going to be our pick here. We just need to fill out our curve. It's a pretty good 3-drop. We don't need any more Charging Griffins at this point, although later in the pack I'd probably pick 1 or 2 up. So let's take our good man here, Griffin Sentinel. This is awesome. So we have Domestication here, which is going to be great for our blue deck. You got your Messenger Drake here. He flies. He's a good man. And Ratchet Bomb here. I don't actually think Ratchet Bomb is very good in Limited because no one's curve kind of clumps up like it does in Constructed where you have a lot of 1s and a lot of 2s. So I think the card's kind of overrated. I do think it's good, but I don't think it's like a first, second, third pick. I think it's a fine like 5th pick removal spell. I think it's worse than like a Liturgy of Blood, which is a really good card. So what's it on par with? I'm trying to think of like a good kind of piece removal that this is about even with. The thing that comes to mind right now off the top of my head is like the new Theros card. It costs like red and 4 for 4 damage. It kind of feels like that. Like it's a kind of clunky, but a removal spell that you could play. If I think of something else, I'll let you know. Let's see here. Not a whole lot for us. But the pack, like there's no blue cards as we see. Can't really beat a Windstorm, but I'm not actually going to take Windstorm here. I think we just take the Angelic Wall. This is a good Angelic Wall deck. Kind of just want to block, play some flyers, attack them, kill them. So that's fine. Let's see what we have here. So this pack, really no good black cards. So my prediction of like maybe good black cards in pack 3 is not really coming through, although I guess there was a corrupt, but I think we opened that, so that doesn't really count. Here, I guess we're just going to take on the Griffin Sentinel. Seems fine. Capture Knight's actually like pretty decent, but not really where we want to be right here. Also, pretty easy to get if you want one. So, good to be in white. We've got a pacifism here. Awesome. And Banisher Priest. This is exactly the only reason you ever want to be in white. Everyone thinks it's bad. You get Banisher Priest, 6th pick. You get past Sarah Angels. And life is good. This one here, I was sort of saying cancel. We probably can get it later than Charging Griffin, and that happens. So that's awesome. Okay, now Sensory Deprivation versus Frost Breath. I think it's kind of interesting. Frost Breath, much better with the Scroll Thieves. And you know, we actually have a ton of like walls and stuff. I'm just going to take the Frost Breath. We really don't need Sensory Deprivation for all the ground defense or even like the air. We've got Wall of Swords, we've got Angelic Wall. We're pretty set there. And Frost Breath is really pretty good in this deck. It looks like we got the Fire Shrieker, we got these guys. We can hit for 1,000,000, take their guys. Like I said, I'll take a Charging Griffin if I get the opportunity late in the pack, so that happened. I like Pay No Heat in the board. I like Negate in the board. Show of Valor in the board. So let's see, sort of just building our deck right now, because why not? We're definitely not going to play this Kankrix, I don't think. So we end up pretty much just white. Some good blue cards there as well. Here, I think I'm just going to take the... I don't think we're going to play either of these. I have a Show of Valor, but if I want another one, I have a Negate. And we have like Pacifism. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Altar's Reap. Someone might want it. Here... Brindle Board Child. Brindle Board Child. Yeah, probably just Brindle Board. We can attack through Child with Scroll Thief. Let's see. Well, we're not going to play Tome Scour, so take this other guy. We already have a Core Morphic for the board, so take their Sliver. And that looks like a deck to me. So this deck actually, I think, you know, turned out pretty good. We've got some very high pick cards. And I think the Fire Shrieker is going to be good, so that was an interesting pick that I think is going to pay off. And I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. I haven't played a white deck in many drafts in this format, but this looks exactly where you want to be in a blue-white deck, where you can defend early, hit late, and really take them down. So we've got an opportunity. Not a bad place to be. So take this guy. And take that guy. So that is the draft. So deck building is going to be pretty simple. We just have to decide, do we want 9 plains and 8 islands. Let's throw this together really quickly. That was our board material. Filler. So we've got all this. And some sentinels. I think this was in our main deck. Find out in a second here. Fire Shrieker. Yeah, so that looks like that's going to be the deck. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. I remember back in the Shards of Alara days where you'd be like building your deck and then like there'd be like a border post over off to the side. You totally forget about it, and then like you're building your mana base because I like leave them there till later to put into my deck because they were just lands, and then you put them in later and you're like, oh whoops. And I think there was one time where I forgot to put in my like dual land essentially, which was the border post, so that was bad. So I always got to double check, make sure you put everything in your deck. So let's color sort. So we're slightly more white, but we also have, you know, early commitments to blue. Probably just a 9/8. You know, we have some double white, but I think it's, you know, pretty close. We don't really need cancel till like up here anyways. So that makes that look a lot better. Yeah, 9/8's gonna be fine. And MTGO suggests it. They're almost always wrong, so I'm pretty skeptical when they tell me exactly what I'm looking for. But I think that's perfect here. And do that. I mean, there are some double blue cards we really do want to hit early. Maybe it should be 9/8 in the other direction. But we have a lot of white cards. We don't hit our planes. That's going to kind of suck, and we do have an early white card here. If we didn't have Banisher Priest, I think I would 9-8 in the direction of blue. Like if this was, let's say this was another Griffin Sentinel, right? Even though we have more white cards, they'd all cost pretty much single white except Sarah Angel, which costs 5. So we really only need 1 plains, and I would actually, with these 3 double blue costs, I would go with 9 islands over 8 plains. So I think that's kind of interesting. With the Banisher Priest early, we would not mind hitting that guy on turn 3 or 4. We have enough other things to do on 4 that we don't have to cast Water Servant on turn 4. So I'm okay with only having the 8 islands. If we don't draw a second island by turn 6 or so for opportunity, well, that's going to not be the best. But we will survive. Okay, so I will catch you guys in round 1.